Can you believe Lupin III has been on Japanese television screens for 50 years now? I can't believe that because he only entered my life 2 years ago. And to celebrate 50 years of Lupin, TMS has kindly graced us with the latest Lupin III television series, where our beloved Lupin-sensei must face off against the cunning Sherlock Holmes for only 3 episodes. In a series where that was the literal hook. Boy, do I have a ton to say about the series. But before I do that in a completely separate video, I want to delve into one of the more standout episodes of the series. Specifically, the series debut episode, Episode 0, The Times. This episode has really nothing to do with the show, and is instead more of a standalone OVA that was produced last minute for a special occasion. And in today's video, we'll be dissecting, or I guess I'll be dissecting, the meta context behind the episode that was written as a farewell to Lupin III's oldest cast member, Kiyoshi Kobayashi. Kiyoshi Kobayashi has been with the Lupin III anime before the beginning. While the series considers 1971 as its birth year, there's a publicly accessible pilot for a Lupin III movie from 1969, and that was later reworked into the original series we have today. And while most of the original voice cast were either replaced or are no longer with us today, Kiyoshi Kobayashi ended up sticking with the Lupin series, starting from the pilot up until his final performance in Episode 0 of Part 6, as Lupin's right-hand man and quick-draw gunslinger, Daisuke Jigen. Before it was announced, speculation on Kobayashi's retirement began when someone noticed that he was missing from another Japanese TV show. People were concerned for his health, and rightfully so. The man is 88 years old after all, and in hindsight, now having seen Episode 0, you can tell that Kobayashi's voice really isn't what it used to be anymore. While that isn't confirmation that his health is getting worse, he is getting old. And now is probably the best time for the man to take the rest of his life off. So why don't we jump straight into the episode, shall we? The episode begins with a monologue from Daisuke Jigen I. He talks about how much he loves to live in the moment, making him a Sigma male, while all the beta and alpha cuck boys reflect back on their lives. The episode revolves around Jigen contemplating whether it's worth staying a thief because the advancement of technology has made it harder to live as a thief. Jigen is just not the type to move with the world. He still uses an old Magnum that existed back in the 60s and can't even entertain the thought of using these very real plastic guns that definitely exist. This obviously could be a parallel to how Kobayashi is getting old. No doubt he's retiring because of his age, but the specifics are still a secret. It's possible that he also has trouble adapting to new equipment in the recording booth. Jigen explicitly states in the episode that he's just not one to adapt with time, unlike Lupin or Goemon, who have already both had their voice actors changed in the past. This also nicely builds off of an episode in the previous Lupin series, which was written around the advancement of technology. In that episode, Jigen felt like he was getting old too. Similar to Episode 0, he felt like he was unable to counter the new methods the world had put in place to stop criminals. But he was eventually convinced by Lupin to stay partners, since what Lupin looks for is not success, but instead the thrill and hype that comes with their lifestyle. But back to Episode 0, it was getting to a point where there wasn't even thrills. They even got caught in a matter of seconds from just some basic Level 0 Mafia City police officers. Jigen then heads out on his own and is tracked by Inspector Zenigata into a bar. This leads into Zenigata asking why Jigen even works for Lupin when he could easily find some other job that could pay well without having to worry about the police due to Jigen's, epic, never missing gun skills. What a guy, what a chad. Jigen then responds, simply saying that all he needs is his crippling alcoholism and he's happy. But ooh woo, what's this? Before Zenigata had entered the bar, Jigen had noticed his drink wasn't living up to expectations, and now that Zenigata is in the bar, it tastes worse. Here we go. Maybe the real treasure was the friends we made along the way, guys. Jigen seemingly learns this because before, he told Zenigata he has no plans to keeping in touch with Lupin. But now that he realizes that Zenigata is interfering with his drink, he just dips, and back at the Lupin den, Goemon expresses his doubt in Jigen returning before Jigen strolls in and has sex with Lupin. Jigen strolls in and tries way too hard to be cool. It's not like I like you or anything, Lupin. I just don't want Fujiko to take my share of the money, he says. Baka, he adds. Then they party. During the party, Jigen tries playing it off cool and enjoying time with everyone, trying his best to keep up the mood for their one last time together as a group. It's literally what this episode is. My man Kobayashi-sama trying his best for his final role before retirement. Constantly throughout the scene, Jigen feels extremely fake. He's trying his best to create this lighthearted mood for everyone, but he just can't quite pull it off. Goemon and Lupin are both aware of this, and while Goemon can't stand to watch Jigen as he finds out what the mask is, that's what the point of the mask is. Goemon takes issue that Lupin would just stand idly by while Jigen secretly plans to just vanish, and while Jigen is outside with Fujiko, Goemon confronts Lupin about his carefree attitude towards the situation. So Lupin goes all tsundere mode and tells Goemon that Jigen has been the most stable thing in his life. Even when Lupin had to adapt to the world, Jigen would be there by his side. Same old man, ready to help out his partner. This parallels so beautifully to how Lupin had to change voice actors because the original, Yasuo Yamada, had passed away in 1995. So when Kanichi Kurita stepped in as Lupin, Kiyoshi Kobayashi was there and stayed by his side to play Daisuke Jigen for all these years. Even Goemon, Fujiko, and Zenigata's voice actors eventually swapped out, but Kobayashi was there to stay. It was this scene that really won me over, and it showed me how fantastic of a send-off this was for Kobayashi. It can also be interpreted as gay. Another thing this episode does is treat Jigen's magnum as if it was Kobayashi himself. Throughout the episode, Jigen and Goemon refer to their respective weapons as partners. While Jigen is known to give his gun a lot of sentimental value, I don't think it's too common for him to refer to it as his partner. This sort of anthropomorphizes it in a way. Fujiko even implies that Jigen's loyalty to Lupin is also similar to how he's inseparable to his magnum. At the beginning of the party, Lupin even says that the phrase "there are plenty of fish in the sea" also applies to guns. The gun, of course, being Jigen's voice actor. And Lupin is hinting that Kobayashi doesn't need to play the role forever. At some point he has to stop. Although Jigen doesn't change the gun at the end of the episode, this does nicely tie into episode 8 of the series. While Jigen's new voice actor has been playing him since episode 1, this is the first Jigen-centric episode we've had with his new voice, and within the episode, his magnum starts to wear out due to a crack that's formed in it. By the end of the episode, the gun breaks in half, but Jigen is able to order custom parts to replace what broke. While I'm not sure if this is intentional, the fact that the gun being used as a metaphor for Kobayashi himself, and having it partially replaced in the first Jigen-centric episode with his new voice actor helped create a nice metaphor for Kobayashi's retirement. This episode also takes place in the past, so it could chronologically be the next episode after episode 0. Overall, I think PMS Entertainment did a fantastic job writing an episode that was more so about the voice actors rather than the characters they play. While the animation is really shoddy, I get it. The man's retired, and they wanted this episode out before his role was taken over, and you can tell that there was a lot of passion put into the script. Put it simply, this episode was the last drink that Kobayashi would have with the crew, and it was one hell of a drink. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like if you did, and subscribe if you want to see more. It would really make my day, since this video was actually really hard to write, because I simply wasn't there to write the actual episode itself. And Japanese people are just really private about their lives, so it's difficult to decipher what the story truly meant, but I did the best I could. But like always, I'll see you guys sometime in the near future. Hopefully.